What is the current status of affairs militarily between Russia and Ukraine as Republicans continue to negotiate with each other and with Joe Biden to send another 61 billion in cash and military hardware there?
Well, I mean, let's put American politics aside and let's just assume for a second that this money was released. There's no ammunition to buy. The NATO has admitted that they have failed in the ammunition war with Russia. That their goal was to produce 1 million rounds of ammunition a year, and they aren't anywhere near close to that. They're 200,000 rounds, and they can't produce any more. And there's no ammunition to buy. So it's like having all the money. If you save up all your money to buy a Rolls Royce, but there's no Rolls Royce dealers anymore. It's not there. So this is the reality. There's no tanks left to give them. They're doing pathetic things like going to Greece and getting Greece to send to Ukraine their old, retired, mothballed Russian military equipment. The Russians will receive it. It won't work. You can't maintain it. It's not ready for operation. It'll go to the field and it'll be destroyed. There's nothing that NATO can do to change what's happening to the Ukrainian military on the ground, which is they are suffering strategic defeat at the hands of the Russians. We are seeing the Russians have taken over the strategic initiative, the operational initiative, and the tactical initiative. Russia is advancing across the lines. These aren't dramatic big arrow advances. These are small, going 500 meters this day, 2 kilometers here, 3 kilometers. But the Ukrainians are being pushed back, and they're being forced to, because standardly, if you're attacked and you're pushed out of your position, the first thing is to counterattack. The counterattack requires the deployment of reserves. They don't have any reserves left to deploy. Nobody trained, no equipment, and so they're being stretched thin, and eventually you're going to stretch them so thin they're going to break all across the front, and the Russians are moving forward. So this is the reality right now. We're looking at the lack of on the part of the Ukrainian forces. The Russians are only getting stronger. The Ukrainians are only getting weaker.
I don't want to get into Israel just yet, but it's one of the reasons that there's nothing left for us to supply them, because we're sending everything to the IDF.
Well, I just have to laugh because, and I apologize for laughing because this is war and it's a serious business. But you remember Joe Biden. Why did we give Ukraine cluster munitions? Because we didn't have any other 155 millimeter ammunition to give them. There's nothing left to give. So we gave them the cluster munitions because we had nothing left, except for all the 155 millimeter ammunition we just gave Israel. Well, what we've done and what the American people aren't being told is we are reaching deep into our war stocks. The reason why we cut off the Ukrainians is because we didn't want to reach into our war stocks, but we're now giving the Israelis our material. So if we ever have to have that big shooting war that nobody wants, but Lindsey Graham and everybody else is articulating in favor of, we won't have any ammunition for that because we're giving it to the Israelis. It's amazing how when it's Israel, we suddenly find things. We bend the rules. Hell, Biden stopped even going to Congress, even though he's constitutionally required to go to Congress. He just said, screw it, and Congress said, go for it, dude. We don't care because it's Israel. Special set of rules, special set of circumstances. I mean, I don't like the Ukrainian government, but in a way, I feel sort of sorry for them because they're sitting there going, hey, you got us into this mess. We lost 500,000 guys. Our army's getting slaughtered. And you say there's nothing left to give, but you're giving it away to the Israelis. Why don't you send some of that our way? That's not how the game works.